All right, so this is chapter 4. It's called the household system and the metric system. Okay, so in this section, we're going to talk about 3 different systems. We talked different types of measuring, basically drugs when it comes to it. The first type of method is the oldest of them all. I can't even say this, is apothecary system. I think that's how you say it. Is the oldest system of drug systems and is the most, again, inaccurate as well. That's the reason why we don't even use it anymore. It isn't used anymore. So basically, this was pretty much done in the olden days when it came to it. So the actual, back in, medieval ways of doing it. Again, very inaccurate when it comes to, but, little history lesson. The main ones we care about is the next 2. Those are the most important ones when it comes to the household and metric system. The second one is called the household system, and it is made so that the drug can be measured at home using ordinary containers found in the kitchen, such as cups and teaspoons, right? We all see that if you guys are cookers, right? The next one is called the metric system. It is the easiest system to use and is used the most worldwide and has almost replaced the other 2 systems dramatically. Now, since we live in the United States, we actually always use the household system far more than the metric system because of that. Believe it or not, the rest of the world uses metric system pretty much, obsolete. We're the only ones, one of the only ones in the countries that use both itself. But once you guys go into the medical field and go to nursing, you'll see that the metric system is used pretty much now on a daily basis when it comes to it. And we'll talk about how that works out in a little bit as well. Okay. All right. So basically, this chapter is broken down into 2 things: household systems, metric systems, and then just going from one to the other itself. Okay. So when it comes to household systems, there's 2 different things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about liquid and also dry. So first, we'll talk about the liquid volume stuff. Okay. And a couple of these we already talked about, right? So we talked about quarts and pints and whatever, but ounces. But these are the main ones we're going to talk about here. Okay. So 1 measuring cup equals 8 ounces. 1 tablespoon. It's capital T, equals 3 little teaspoons, and so forth. Now, the only one you have to replace here is this PD. This is supposed to be LB. That's pounds, sorry. It's a little typo there. So that's supposed to be LB. So 1 pound equals 16 ounces, which we talked about also last time, right? So again, right, so again, these are just newer ones we're going to use now from this portion on top of the list we had on chapter 3 as well. Okay. So, the little space here and on the other page as well. So essentially now, since we have a new system and a new, conversions, all we want to do is, try some out. So let's do a couple examples like converting, right? So let's convert 5 teaspoons to tablespoons. Okay. So little t is teaspoons, capital T is tablespoons, right? Now using our conversion here. Okay. So the same process we did before, right? This is our given. This is what we want. So always start with the given, 5 teaspoons. And now we go with our conversion. So given this conversion, we know there's 3 little t's equals 1 big T. So remember, we want to cancel out the little t, so this would be 3 little t equals 1 big T. Cancel, cancel. And now we just divide, right? So 5 divided by 3 gives you 1.67. 1.67 tablespoons. And we'll just call this A. All right, let's try another one. Let's try B. So let's say we want to convert 3 pounds to measuring cups. It's going to be a lengthy one. So 3 pounds to measuring cups. Now, wondering how in the world do we go from that to that? Well, the good thing is, right, we have a connection. We can go from pounds to ounces, and measuring cups is right here, and that measuring cups represents the ounces. So notice that we have 2 conversions you can deal with, right, when it comes to it. So again, what's given to us times this proportion. So we know for every 1 pound, there are 16 ounces. So that gets rid of the pounds. So multiplying these out should give you, I think it's 48 or 46, but let me just check. 48 ounces. But again, right, the whole portion is we want measuring cups. Therefore, now we use the other conversion here. So notice it's the same thing. Like I said on the first example, or the first chapter, all this is the same exact thing. We're just going to be going to this over and over and over again, but different type of conversions given different scenarios. But it's the same conversion over and over and over again. So in this case, we have for every 8 ounces, there's 1 measuring cup. Let's put M cup for short. So U. So these cancel. And then finally, we just divide by 8. So a total of 6 measuring cups. And there we go. Okay. All right, so why don't you guys try one? So a little space on the other page, so let's call this C. So why don't you guys convert 3.55 tablespoons to ounces. Okay. So go ahead and pause it. 3, 2, 1, pause. Okay. All right, so hopefully you guys did it. If you guys weren't sure, right, this is what we're given to it. This is what we want. So 3.55 tablespoons. Now we need a conversion that goes from tablespoon to ounces, right? So let's see what we have here to help us out. And it looks like we do have one, right? We have ounces to tablespoons. Perfect. Right? Now remember, this isn't the only way you can go by doing this. If you really want, you can go from, let's see. Well, I guess that's the direct way when it comes to it. Do we have anything measuring cups? Oh yeah, you can go this way, go from here to here, and vice versa. But again, the most direct way would be go from there to there, right? So 1 ounce equals 2 tablespoons. So there are 2 tablespoons for every 1 ounce, right? Tablespoons at the bottom. So dividing these, so 3.55 divided by 2 gives you 1.78 ounces. So hopefully about the same thing, right? Nothing really brand new from the last one. Hope you guys will also like the extra practice video. I'll give you guys a little bit portion as well. Okay, so that's pretty much the household system. Now the metric system is a little different because it's when it comes to measuring base units is a little different. So in this case, we're going to talk about the base unit. So a base unit is a measured using medical dosage, and it's given by these 3 things: grams, liters, and meters. That's going to be our base units themselves. So those 3, which means everything we're about to talk about is used for all 3, not just one in particular. Okay. Now, when it comes to the metric system, the names is the most important thing. Our base unit is always here, so that's considered like a 1. And if you go this way, the smaller you get, and this way, the larger you actually become. Okay. So hence why this course goes backwards is 1 unit here corresponds to 1.1 here, and so forth down the line. Okay, so meaning this is going to be a really, really, really small number, and this is going to be a really, really big number itself, right? Kilo. Okay. Focus. All right. Now, here are the abbreviations for each one as well. Come on, focus. There we go. A little off there. All right. So these are abbreviations for each one. So K is kilo, H is hecto. You rarely use this one, and also this one. Mostly it's going to be kilo. And if you go down the list, more important you're going to see is these ones. Rarely will you see deci, and every once in a while you'll see micro when it comes to it. But the most important ones are kilo, centi, and micro when it comes to it. Okay. But again, you always have a couple things here and there as well. Okay. Now, how this is work out is, how this is actually written is 1 base unit equals 100 hecto, or 1 base unit equals 10 deca, and 1 base unit equals 1,000 kilos itself. Okay, so I try to give you guys a scenario here when it comes to it, and it goes backwards. So a base unit equals 0.1 deci, 1 base unit equals 0.001 centi when it comes to it. Now, this is kind of, if you want to show how it's going to be written. Okay, so going from here to there backwards that means there's 1,000 for every 1, there's 100 for every 1, there's a 10 for every 1, and there's a million for every 1. Okay? So I give you guys a format how this works here. So milliliter, so milli is M with a liter, L. So 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. That's the base unit. Right, liter is the base unit, so going backwards. Okay, which means going this way. I talk about it a little later, but you could say for every 1,000, let's say liters, there's 1 kiloliter, right? Because you're getting larger as we go along. Okay. So going this way, you get bigger. I mean, you get smaller. This way, you get larger. Okay. Right. So next step talks about liquid, and that's the most important thing. This is, believe it or not, one of the major parts connecting length into a liquid. 1 cubic centimeter is equal to 1 milliliter, and a cubic centimeter is broken up into either cc or cm cubed. Okay, that is the bridge between length and liquid. That very important one, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio, but it has to be centimeters cubed. That's the biggest thing when it comes, not just centimeters. Okay. All right. So now that we have a little bit of a understanding here, let's try some examples so you can see how this actually works out here. Okay. So example 1 says, if the doctor prescribed 1.5 liters of 6% dextrose in water, how many milliliters is prescribed? Now, remember, when it comes to this class, you don't want to overthink stuff. So you literally do what's asked of you to do, okay? So in other words, they want you to create it into milliliters. Now notice this has nothing to do with you going into milliliters, right? You want to convert the liters into milliliters. Later on in the course, we'll talk about what this actually represents, but for now, right, it's just fluff for your guys' sake, okay? The whole process is, I want milliliters. Well, what's given to me? Liters. Okay. So in that case, now let's start what we're given to us. So 1.5 liters times, now we have this portion to help you guys out, right? So for every 1 liter, there are 1,000 milliliters. So canceling out and then multiplying, it should give you, I think it's 1,500 milliliters. Yeah. 1,500 milliliters. Okay. All right. So go on to the next video for part 2.